call on Derek Heaton to give us a bit of this consumption, price, demand perspective.
John, will we get access to these decks?
Yes, we can share these.
Okay.
And we're recording, so we can.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Good afternoon. Thanks, John. So I'm going to talk a little bit in my 5 minutes about food consumption patterns and prices in food countries. I want to try and quickly answer two questions. So first, where do poor consumers, and in fact non-poor consumers, get their food from? Do they get it from their own farms? Do they get it from markets? And what degree of processing is involved in their consumption patterns? And within that, I'll look a little bit at how consumption patterns are changing in developing countries. And then what are the major problems with diet? And I'm going to focus here on infant diets. I've said other diets are important, but this is certainly one important demographic. So this is some data really from Dave Shirley and colleagues at Michigan State University. And it's really showing the extent of processing of purchasing patterns for different groups. So in the left-hand box, you'll see rural consumers in developing countries, and the darker bars, the darker green bars, refer to high degrees of processing. And what it shows you is that, as you'd expect, as incomes rise, as you move along these income groups, the consumption share of processed foods, particularly high processed and low processed foods, tends to increase pretty quickly. And in the second box, you'll see, as you'd expect, that in urban areas, they're already heavily purchasing lots of highly processed and low processed foods, even at low income levels. And of course, the world is urbanizing quickly, incomes are rising, and in the third box we see what you'd expect, that up to 2040 we're going to see pretty large increases in the share of high processed and low processed foods. So all this to say that, as John kind of alluded to, the international agricultural research community has invested a lot in sort of staple crops. And the agriculture nutrition space has focused a lot on farming systems, but particularly for smallholders, trying to diversify their production patterns. But consumers are already engaged a lot with markets, and particularly are going to increase their share of processed foods. Turning to children's diets, infants in developing countries, as we all know, have very low dietary diversity. I just picked 6 developing countries here with some variation. You'll see in Indonesia, 58% of children, of infants, achieve the WHO goal of minimum dietary diversity, which is 4 out of 7 food groups. So that's a pretty good scenario. But once you start turning to India, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Burkina Faso, you see that the share of children achieving this relatively modest target is really low, as low as 6% in Burkina Faso. And then when you start to look at some individual nutritionally important food groups, such as cow's milk, eggs, and fortified complementary cereals, infant cereals, you'll see those shares are very low, but also highly variable. So if you look at dairy, which is the dark sort of brown bar there, you'll see dairy consumption is reasonably high in India, but very low in some of the other countries, have a lot of variation. So why is this? Why do we see such low consumption of these key foods in developing countries? Well, one of the things we've been focusing on in our work is not just looking at the income constraint. Obviously, poor people are poor by definition. They don't have large food expenditure budgets. We're looking really at a second constraint, which is that poor people live in food systems where healthy foods are particularly unaffordable. So what we're measuring here is the price of each food in each country, the price of the calorie of each food in each country relative to the cheapest staple in that country. So in India, for example, the cheapest staple is rice. And so we're measuring the price of an egg calorie relative to a rice calorie. So these are all ratios. And what it tells you is that in India, fresh milk, a calorie of fresh milk is 6 times as expensive as a calorie of rice. So in terms of constraints to diversifying out of staples, prices are a huge constraint, and that's a great rationale for the private sector to try and reduce the cost of nutritious foods. When John was talking, I was thinking, I wish I'd shown the price of sugar, because you see the price of sugar is pretty cheap even in developing countries. So that's a major explanation of the double burden here. And then the last graph, just to show you, a particular product of interest for infants, which is fortified complementary foods. They're often sort of confounded with the infant formula problems that John mentioned. But these complementary foods are complete infant cereals. They have high content of fat, protein, and a range of micronutrients. But these are extremely unaffordable in many developing countries. In Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Nigeria. And in Nigeria, the product of the price here is 30 times as expensive as rice. So very few children in these countries are going to get access to these highly nutritious foods. Last slide. Thanks.